Spiritual spanker is crazy. One more time for Bethany. That was good, bro. That flower analogy. Man, I'm gonna have to go cry about that in the corner. It did hit me, Lord. You're right. That was I'm recovering. So
You got spanked, bro.
yes. The spanker got spanked today. That's why. So my sermon is on lukewarm love.
Ooh.
I didn't say anything yet.
I know voices everywhere.
So first thing I saw recently, I was like, yo, religion is what we made out of his death, but the relationship was a gift fulfilled through his resurrection. This isn't even the spanker for you. This is just for me. When I think about lukewarm and temperature, literally. When you're hot, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, but I think of tea. Tea is good for you. And it might burn a little, but it's trying to heal inside and burn away any sickness or anything inside you. It's trying to burn it all away. But when it's cold, there's no growth at all. There's nothing really happening. You're just there, and you're not growing at all. You're just cold. But when you're lukewarm, you think you're hot, but you're still not growing. You're just comfortable being cold. Me and my mom, we saw a dead raccoon. And my immediate thought was, that's disgusting. That's gross. It is. I'm like, blood everywhere. That's nasty. And then Jesus was like, now think of me when I see it. He was like, that's beautiful. And the reason why he called it beautiful is because he knows he has the power to resurrect the thing that's dead. And I was like, you talking about me, aren't you? He's like, yeah, I am talking about you. Again, the reason why I say it's gross is because I know I can't restore it, I can't renew it. And going back to my last sermon, part of the reason I'm quick to judge is because I put limitations on God. And every time actually this applies to our own self-identity. Every time you put yourself down, every time you say that you're not smart, or you say that you're not pretty or loving or patient. Let's do an exercise. You're gonna say something like, just say God, okay? After everything I said, okay? You are not patient.
God.
You are not pretty.
God.
You are not smart.
God.
You are not loving.
God.
And that's exactly what it is when you're degrading yourself. Every time you're putting yourself down, you're putting him down. So just remember that. Just remember that. You're like, oh, I am terrible. And it's like, okay, ouch. I made you. The reason why that was so deep for me was he was like, the thing so amazing about you was just made from the image of me. You're not even fully me. You're not fully of everything I am. You were just made in the image of me. And you're just amazing in that way. Just by being the image of me. So it's anytime you put down your own image, even your own self-emotions is still part of his image. Now we're getting to the fact of you're still hurting yourself, even if you're not directly hurting yourself. I learned something recently, and I was thinking about some of my friends, and something God told me. He says, if you're a friend of the enemy of your friends, you're still an enemy to your friends. And I didn't get that. I was like, what? And he was just like, you are friends with this person, and you know for a fact this person does not get along with your actual friend. So you can't say that you're a friend of your friend. It's like not only are you hurting them, you are actually hurting yourself. Back to what I said actually to the boys, you think that you've drifted so far away from God, and you think that, oh, I'm lost. And he's just like, I've literally never been closer to you. And that's why it hurts him so much when you say, I hate myself and all these different things, because it's like, you're talking to me because I'm literally with you. Another thing, the things that you went through, your pain, those are not the things that made you stronger. Yes, you got through it. What made you stronger was the person that got you through it. He got you through it, and you were strong because he had already made you strong. So in case you're like, oh, I'm not going to be a good father. You've already been made a good father. I'm not going to be a good wife. When you were born, that's the way he created you. You were already a good wife. I want to go to Luke 6:37 real quick. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. I love that verse for a couple of reasons. When it says, do not judge, and you will not be judged, this seems like more of like I'm coming at you, but I feel like at the same time he's like, I'm trying to give you grace, because if I put my hand on you, you ain't gonna live. You ain't gonna make that. Like you're not gonna. It's gonna hurt you bad. It's gonna hurt you bad. If my hands get on you, it's a wrap. And it's like, even though this is like, don't do this, you're doing something bad. It's like it's also grace. Like I'm trying to save you. When it says, do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. That's something I struggle with, and I'm trying to get better at, because I thought condemnation started at the action, but to be honest, condemnation starts at the thought. And I didn't even know that. And it was like, you think this about this person. You didn't need to say it, but it's there. And it's like, not everything physical. Everything is spiritual. And that doesn't mean just the physical things. So even what you're thinking is still affecting the spiritual. Even if you think, because I didn't say it, they don't know. And it's like, no. They feel it. They feel it because it's affecting the spiritual. And the spiritual is more powerful than physical, honestly. It affects the physical so much. I'm trying to give y'all grace. One thing God was telling me, I feel like as Christians, we tend to choose sides. We tend to pick sides. It's like, oh, I'm this type of Christian, so I'm better. Like, I'm A Christian. And then someone else is like, I'm B Christian. And then someone, even after that, is like, as a C Christian, I see A and B as bad. And something God told me, he was like, I'm nowhere from A to Z. I'm something new, and I'm something purposely you've never seen before. I'm not here to fulfill your expectations in any way. The Lord said to me, he's like, I'm not going to fit into any of your opinions. I'm here to literally bring something new, something that you've never seen before. He says, I don't fit into man's categories. He said, I only became a man to show you what it's like to be a man that isn't made by man, but God made. Another thing, he was like, you're so self-absorbed in what God used you to preach, and you think everyone else has a problem but you. There has been someone that's been okay, let's take out our phones real quick. And we're about to go look at the person that has you've seen in the background that's like, oh, they've been kind of prideful. They think they're all big. They think they're all that. So if we take out our phones here, we're gonna go to the camera, and I just want you to look at the selfie mode. The person that you're over here like, oh, they're the big bad wolf. And God is like, okay, look, I need you to look in the mirror. I don't know if you know, you're looking in the mirror right now. The person that is prideful and is judging other people is you. It's you. Like, it's you. It's you. The person that is half and half with God and half not with God, it's you. You specifically trying to be like, oh, I see them. It's this person. They're not on fire for God as I am on fire. And one thing God told me, he was like, I might use the person wilding out more than I use you. And I was like, that's crazy. My favorite person in the Bible, he was like, who's your favorite person in the Bible? I was like, Paul. Not only was this guy a murderer, he was a murderer of my people. And Paul is one of the most influential people in the Bible. And it's not like what he did is hidden. Like we don't know people that he's killed. It's the fact that God showed specific sins that he did, like killing Stephen. He showed specific sins that he did. And God's like, you have to understand, no one is too low or too high to be used by me. And that's one thing I couldn't really, I'm still struggling with. I ain't gonna lie, I'm still struggling with. Because it's like, man, Lord, I'm over here in pain, obeying you. Why is this person that went to church once and cussed you out in front of all the Christians they up? And it's just like, because there's nothing different between you two. There's nothing different between you two. What you're doing at the moment, how you're acting might be different, but who you are isn't different, because who you are is you identify with me. And if you identify with me, you're all the same. One thing that's been hitting for me, and I don't know who said this, but it really hit me in my soul. It's like, safety isn't about where you are. Just because you go to church doesn't mean, safety isn't about where you are. And I think, like, oh, I go to church and I do this and I have a revival club, or I'm over here in other countries preaching the gospel. It's like, safety isn't about where you are, it's about who you're with. And it's like, oh, it's funny because I sin, but then I think I have the right to judge. no sin is far greater than the other. They all remove you from God. Next time you go into any place, and I was talking with Josh, and we had that whole thing. It's like the people that are not saved by Christ are still they're still human. They're still made by God. And something that was really good that hit me as soon as Josh was talking was like, I think search me, O God, and like teach me what you love and teach me what you hate. Like I want to love what you love and I want to hate what you hate. And it's like so many people have their opinion on what he loves and what he hates. And it's like I love the person. I hate the sin. I hate the sin. I do, but I love that person. That's how you have to start seeing people when you're about to judge and stuff. It's like, Daniel, you're doing a little too much. And then it's like, Josh, you're doing too much. Lily, you're doing too much. Julia, you're doing too much. You're like, whoever. It's like, you've changed your view on them. And he's like trying to tell you, like, what you do isn't who you are. What you do is not who you are. I had a friend. He was drugs, porn, like the full gamut, like just all of it. And there was a moment when I understood this, and I looked at him and I was like, yo, he's an amazing person. Which is crazy, because this man had like a blunt in his hand. It's like, you ain't making great choices right now. It's different because that's one thing I was asking. I was like, what do I bring, truth or grace? You know, like, do I bring down the hammer or do I be soft? And he's like, they're one and the same. My grace is the truth. That's one thing I have to check myself on. It's like, what they do isn't who they are. Even unbelievers, I'm still working that on myself. And I'm just like, Lord, I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. They're cursing me out to my face right now, bro. What do you want me to see? And it's like, I want you to see me. I want you to see me in them, because I'm always in them. I think that's where we're gonna end it, and just kind of pray real quick. Lord, teach us your love. Teach us how to identify, to understand what you love, to understand who you love. Teach us to look at people the way you look at them. Search me, O God, know my heart. Take out anything you see unfit inside of me. Lord, I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak and just be vulnerable with these people. And I see them, I see you so clearly in them. I see the amazing person. I see Piper just being an amazing musician, and I see Josh being an amazing speaker, and Izzy and Beth and Layla. It's amazing. And even the people just listening, I know that you're doing amazing things within them. And in his name we pray. Amen.